members of the parent class are now accessible to the child class, guys. All the members of the parent class are now accessible to child class. Do you understand the picture? So what am I doing now? I'm reusing the code. What am I doing there? I am reusing the code, reusability. So inheritance gives you what? Reusability. Reusability is what you will achieve through inheritance. So with this, the members that are defined in one class can be consumed from another class once there is a parent-child relationship between the classes. Okay, tell me one thing. The property of your parents belongs to only you or your brothers and sisters also? The property of your parents belongs only to you or for your brothers and sisters also? To all your brothers and sisters. You're not the whole owner of the property. It belongs to all. So what I'm trying to tell you is, a class can have n number of child classes. A class can have n number of child classes. A class can have n number of child classes. Did you understand me? And all the child classes can enjoy the parents' property. All the child classes can enjoy the parents' property. Everyone has a right on that. Everyone is going to have right on that. Everyone can have a right on the children's property. Not only one. Okay? And that will give you what? Reusability. And that's what inheritance gives you, reusability. Polymorphism. What is polymorphism? Polymorphism, guys, polymorphism means it's an approach of behaving in different ways depending upon the inputs received. It's an approach of behaving in different ways depending upon the inputs received. What do you mean by that? What I mean is, I'll tell you an example. See, you guys, you basically assume it like this, all of you. Assume it like this. What is that? You all completed your annual examinations. And now you're waiting for the results. Guys, listen, you all completed your annual examinations and waiting for the results. When you're waiting for the results, here, one fine day early in the morning, one of your friend has called you. And said that, congratulations, you're the topper of the college. You're waiting for the results. Your friend has called you and said that, congratulations, you're the topper of the college. How do you feel? Very happy, proud. Immediately, your WhatsApp status will change, your Facebook status will change. You start telling about your success to your friends, family members, everyone. Every near and dear you start telling. Am I correct? Yeah. But unfortunately, guys, you did not receive the call like that. Your friend has called you early in the morning and said, "You, the results are announced today, and you have 3 backlogs in the exams. The results have been announced, and you have 3 backlogs in your exams." How do you feel? Now also happy, proud for your achievement? Sad? The first thing we do is switch off the mobile phone. Switch off the mobile phone. Stay away, sit in the close your door, sit off the mobile phone, stay away from the social media. Yes or not? So basically, all what we have done earlier will be now reverse. Correct? So this is only what we just call as abstraction. This is only what we just call as abstraction. Abstraction basically, polymorphism. Polymorphism basically means behaving in different ways depending upon the input received. Behaving in different ways depending upon the input received. Yeah, behaving according to the input received. So when the input changes, automatically the output also will be changing for you. When the input changes, automatically the output also will be changing for you. That's exactly what we just call as polymorphism. When I give you one positive input, you behave in one way. And when I give you a negative input, you behave in one way. I hope you understood what is polymorphism. Okay. So that's what exactly polymorphism is. Now tell me, are you not aware of these particular four things in your day-to-day life? Are you aware of them or not? We are aware of all these four things in our day-to-day life, guys, and we apply them every day in our day-to-day life. We know them, we apply them. What we don't know, we only don't know this is called as encapsulation, this is called as abstraction, this is called as inheritance, and this is called as polymorphism. That's all. But we know all the four, and we apply them. We apply everything in our day-to-day life. Okay, so that's what exactly polymorphism. That's what exactly. So any language, if it is going to satisfy these particular four principles, any language, if it is going to satisfy these particular four principles, we call that language as an object-oriented language. Any language, if it satisfies these particular four principles, we call that particular language as object-oriented language. If you don't satisfy at least a single principle also, if you don't satisfy at least a single principle also, that language cannot be called as object oriented. If you don't satisfy at least a single principle also, that language cannot be called as object oriented. So it is mandatory all the four principles should be satisfied to be called as object oriented. At least one you don't satisfy also, that cannot be called as object oriented. So guys, did you understand about the four principles now? Now the question that arises here is how to use them, sir, how to use them. Okay, we'll see how to use up these particular principles in our applications. Let me tell you how to use these particular principles in our day-to-day life, in our application development. How to use them in our application development is what we're required to learn. We'll just try to understand about how to use them in our applications. Fine. So first, starting with the encapsulation. From day one, we are writing all the code inside a class. From day one, we are following and we are writing all the code inside a class. From day one, we are following that particular principle, writing the complete code inside of a class. But we written only one thing inside the class, that is a static main method. Apart from that, nothing we defined inside the class. Apart from that, nothing we defined inside of the class. Okay. So let's try to understand more about this one. Let's just try to understand more about this one, guys, about a class. So if you recollect, um, what is a class? Guys, tell me what is a class? What is the definition I given for you a class? A class is a user-defined data type, not a predefined. A class is a user-defined data type. A class is a user-defined data type. This is the first important point. And in turn, a class is a user-defined data type, and in turn, the class is going to be a collection of members. In turn, the class is going to be a collection of members. It is going to be a collection of members, actually. Yeah. In turn, every class is going to be a collection of members. And what members a class can contain? What members a class can contain? A class can contain various different types of members in it. Satvika, Satvika, your video is on. Satvika Tota. Yeah. It's going to be a collection of members, basically. A collection of members, actually. So the collection of all the members um, is what we just call as a class. So what are the members a class contains in it? What are the members a class can contain in it? Have a look. It's not just variables and functions, guys. The members of a class are various categorizations. What are those? See, fields, methods, constructors, destructors or finalizers, properties, indexers, events, deconstructors. Totally 8 different members a class can contain. In the starting classes, I said you variables and functions. Variables are nothing but fields, and functions are nothing but methods. Only these two I said you. But not just these two here, a class can basically contain various different types of members. A class can contain various different types of members. So these are the 8 different types of members what a class can contain. And coming to the last one, deconstructors. These are introduced in C# 7. This 7 actually, in C# 7, these deconstructors came into picture. Okay. So like this, every class is going to be a collection of various different members. Every class is going to be a collection of various different members like this. Okay, now? Are you clear? In this, are you guys aware of the fields? Are you guys aware of the fields? Come on, answer me, guys. Fields are nothing but fields are global variables. Fields are nothing but global variables. We already learned about this. Fields are nothing but global variables. Global variables. Fields means global variables. So we already learned about this particular fields, global variables. Local variables are called as variables. Global variables are called as fields. We already learned about these particular fields in our earlier classes. So every class can contain this particular fields in it. Okay. And so fields, we already know we have to declare them and all. And actually where we require to start is from the methods. Where we require to start is from the methods. From the methods part exactly, we just require to start up our discussion. Our discussion should start from the methods part. Okay. So from the part of the methods, we just required to start from. So what are these methods and how do you define these particular methods and all? So fields are done, methods will start with. So what is a method, guys? You might be learning functions in C language now. You might be learning about functions in C language. Yeah, functions. You learn functions in C language. So what is a function? Simply speaking, a function is a named block of code. A function is a named block of code which performs an action whenever it is called, right? A function is a named block of code which performs an action whenever it is called. Yeah, there's a function. A named block of code, guys. You call it, it will perform you some actions. And talking more about a function, these functions, these particular functions, after completing an action, guys, listen, these functions, after completing an action, should return a value. Function, after completing an action, should return a value. Guys, have a look at the definition. Are you clear with the definition? Okay. And do you remember this in the C language? We learned functions are value returning functions and non-value returning functions. Remember this? We learned about the two different types of functions, value returning and non-value returning functions. Now read this, guys, read this. There's a mistake in that. Can you identify the mistake? Read the whole description. There's a mistake in this. Can you identify the mistake? Yeah, should return a result. So what is the mistake? The mistake here is, what is it telling you? Should return a value. And again, you're telling non-value returning function. The description is telling you should return a value. And here it is again telling you non-value returning function. This is the mistake in the C language, guys. This is the biggest blunder in the C language. What blunder? Function must return a value. function must return a value. When the function must return a value, then there is no place for non-value returning functions at all. There is no place for non-value returning functions, but in C language, we have non-value returning functions. That's a big blunder. That's the reason why in modern programming languages like Java, .NET, and these languages, we don't use the word called function. What we call, we call it a method. We call it as a method. So what is a method? A method is a named block of code which performs an action when it is called. And after completion of that action, it may or may not return a result of that action. So methods are two types here: value returning methods and non-value returning methods. See guys, listen, value returning methods and non-value returning methods. And remember, value returning methods are also called as functions. Non-value returning methods are called as subroutines. Did you understand this now? That's why we don't use the word called as function. What we just say is we call it the methods. In the modern programming languages that are called as methods. So what we define is methods in the code, not functions in the code. So if the method is returning a value, that can also be called as a function. If the method is returning a value, that can also be called as a function. Yeah, void main is a subroutine, non-value returning. Void main is a subroutine, non-value returning. Okay, so that's what exactly, guys, a function or a method is going to be. That's what exactly a function or a method is exactly going to be. So I hope you're clear. I hope you're clear with this. Okay. So tomorrow I'll tell you how to define these methods in our code and all. I'll explain you in the tomorrow's session how to define the methods. Let me stop it here, guys. I'll meet you tomorrow. Same time, guys. This complete week, I will take the session only for 1 hour. I was fine, okay, but still I have weakness. Yeah, just a weakness, guys. Continuously, I'm not able to take the classes. So I need at least a break of 1 hour between classes.